Customer builds are back, and right here we have a 2014 4Runner about to get transformed. As you can see, we have a ton of parts here from Yota Xpedition to get this thing transformed. Let's go ahead and take a look at everything we have. We have a full suspension kit here from Bilstein. We have a front bumper and a front skid plate from C4 Fabrications. For lighting, we have headlights, taillights, and fog lights from Morimoto. We have a Dial Dynamics light bar that's going to be going on the roof. And then to power everything, we have a power kit from Yota Xpedition. For wheels and tires, we have some Black Rhino wheels going on this, wrapped in some 285/70 Toyo AT tires. And lastly, we also have a Sherpa Crestone roof rack to go on this thing, but now we need to move all this stuff out of the way, get the 4Runner up on the lift, and start pulling this thing apart. Forerunner is in the air. We got the factory wheels and tires off this thing. Now we need to go ahead and remove both the front and rear suspension. Hopefully it's easy. This is a 2014 and we are in the Northeast, so hopefully all of this stuff comes out without battling us. Then we can get the new Bilstein suspension installed. So you remember yesterday I said, hopefully things come apart easily on this. Well, it's the next day. I've been working on the driver's side here, and so far it has not been too good. I had a bolt snap up here, or a nut for the top, which isn't really a big deal. We're gonna be putting new top hats on anyway, but the lower bolt here on the shock is seized in the bushing. So I was not able to get the bolt to slide out. It's pretty much fused together. So I got the first half cut off here, which is the easy side. I have enough room to get the cutoff wheel and get that off, but this side is really close to the axle. I can't fit the cutoff wheel in there. I also can't fit the Sawzall in there. So I'm whittling away with a air saw, trying to cut through the bushing and the bolt so that I can get this shock out. So yeah. That's good. Got scared for a second. The bushing came out from the shock. I thought this was going to be rusted on there, but came right off with my hand. All right, guys, so we got the factory suspension finally removed from the 4Runner, and now it's time to put all the new stuff on here from Bilstein. So for the rears, we got some 5100s. It's gonna be a good upgrade from the factory ones, but not going too crazy. For the fronts, we have some 6112s. These are a 2.5-inch shock body, so they hold a little bit more fluid than the 5100s would. You also have a bunch of positions here for adjusting your height, so we're gonna have to figure out exactly where we wanna put it to get it dialed in nicely. We have new springs for the front, also some new springs for the rear. And then to finish off the front assembly, we have some brand new top hats from KYB. So we got to take these over to our spring compressors, get the fronts all assembled, and then start putting this thing back together. So we are gonna do clip number 5 and clip number 7. So 4Runners typically have a lean after you lift them, or even from factory, because of the gas tank and the driver and everything like that. So you put one clip a little bit higher than the other side to correct that. And doing clip 5 and 7 is gonna give us roughly 2.3 inches of lift. So hopefully that matches up well with the rear. All right, we got both front shock assemblies together, and those are ready to go into the 4Runner. We're gonna get a new bolt for that one that I had to cut. In the meantime, we're going to get the rest of the rear suspension installed. So we got the brand new springs, got the brand new shocks. We're gonna go ahead and get those installed. Already started here on the passenger side. We'll throw the springs in, and then I'll jump over to the driver's side. Front suspension is all installed, rear suspension is all installed. The only thing we need to do yet is install those 2 lower bolts. We have someone right now going to run and get a new one, so we got to get those in, and we are finished. Also, there was no cotter pins on any of this stuff when I took it apart, so put it all back together the right way, got cotter pins in there, torqued to spec, so now we can go ahead and start working on the next thing. So with the suspension pretty much done, I'm gonna tackle the front of the 4Runner now. We need to get the bumper marked out to get cut for the new C4 bumper. We also need to remove the headlights. We're gonna be replacing the fog lights, getting some fang lights in there, a bunch of stuff going on here in the front. So I'm gonna get all this torn apart. So cutting the bumper for the extensions on the C4 bumper, you're gonna be putting the bumper on and off a lot probably. We're gonna get it kind of eyeballed. I'm gonna cut it, make sure you don't cut too much because you can't put it back on. Gonna make a cut, and then once the C4 bumper is installed, we'll fit the factory bumper, mark it again, cut a little bit more off, test fit, probably have to cut some more. So we'll probably be taking this thing on and off like 5 times before we get it right. Dude has a lift and he's laying on the floor. You got the bolt? Got a bolt? Nice. All right, we got the front bumper off, we got the headlights off, we got the crash bar off, and this is where the new C4 bumper is going to mount. So I'll probably take a tap. I'm gonna chase these threads so that those are nice and clean, and our bolts will go back in nice and easy. Now, like I said earlier, this is a 2014, and we are up here in the Northeast, so salt and winters are pretty harsh on these vehicles. And one common place is down here on the bottom of the radiator. You have this piece of foam that just holds moisture right up against the frame, and this is a pretty good spot to get rusted out. So as you can see, if I can get this out, here's a good piece of metal right there. Got some more stuck to this. So if you live in the Northeast and your truck is fairly new, I would take a look at this area. Maybe just remove this foam so it's not holding stuff up against your frame. Tip for the day. All right, so we got these chased, so those threads are nice and good. Should be easy to put the bolts back in. We are also going to chase this hole here on the side, which is an M12 by 125. And our tap and die set doesn't have that for some reason. So if you don't have a tap, you can just take a bolt that you have laying around, which is obviously the right thread, an M12 by 125, and grind the end of it. So that is going to allow the dirt and debris in the threads to have a place to go when you're tightening this down. So I'll go ahead, put that in there, take it out, and I'll show you all the stuff that we cleaned out of the threads. And there you can see all the debris and stuff in there that we cleaned out of the threads. So should be easy to get the bolt back in there. All right, so we got the 4Runner prepped and ready to take its new front bumper, which we have right here. This is the C4 Fabrication Low Pro bumper. Now, these used to not come powder coated, but now they do offer powder coating. So you can get this shipped right to your door, ready to be installed. So this comes in a nice textured black powder coat. It's got room here for a 30-inch light bar. It's got a winch mount as well, some heavy duty tow hooks here. And then we also have the extensions that they offer for this bumper. So we're gonna have some metal extensions up the side here for a nice cut to give us some clearance for those bigger tires. So I got 2 bolts in here, threaded in backwards, so I have little posts to hang this on, and we can get this in place, get the other bolts started, and then we can move on from there. You wanna hand me one of those bolts? Without getting anti-seize all over your fingers. I do wanna know, if you are getting this bumper and you're putting a winch in your 4Runner or you're putting a light bar in here, you wanna do that stuff before putting the bumper onto your 4Runner. This person is not getting any of that stuff right now, so that's why we're just putting the bumper on by itself. I want you guys to comment down below, is there a wrong and a right way to put a washer on? I have a pet peeve about putting the washers on a particular way. I think they have a front and a back. Let me know down in the comments if you guys do the same. It is the next day. Yesterday we got the C4 bumper on and we got the extensions on there as well. And now we need to get the factory bumper cut so it can fit. So this whole middle section on the bottom where the valance was needs to be removed. And then also over here where we have it marked out with tape, we need to cut that off as well. We're gonna be doing a bunch of test fitting and sanding to get this thing to fit nicely. So let's go ahead and get the cutoff wheel and start cutting this thing apart. let's do our first test fit to see how far we are off. So I pulled the wing down just a little bit, and now we have a pretty decent gap from here to here. So now I'm going to match it from here to here and this section. So I'm going to take a thin piece of tape, I'm going to make this nice and even here, and also over here. Do the other side, I'll take it back off and we'll hit it with the sanding wheel and get it to be nice and consistent all the way through. And then if I want to tighten the gap up, I can just lift the extension back up to give it a tighter look. So we got our second cut done. We'll go ahead and test fit this thing. If it looks good, I'll take it back off, do a final cleanup of everything, put our trim on here, and then we can tighten the bumper down for good and then reinstall this. This should get us pretty close. All right, bumper is in position and that looks pretty decent. Like I said, we're going to be putting a piece of trim on there, and that should clean that up nicely. I mean, you could run that without trim, and I think that looks pretty good. All right, we got the bumper back on, and I'm pretty happy with the way that both sides are looking. So I'm going to take this thing back off. I'm just going to clean it up completely, make sure there's no like melted plastic or anything hanging off of it, and then we'll get the trim pieces on there and get the full C4 bumper tightened down and good to go, and then we'll get this reinstalled. C4 bumper is all tight and in place. OEM bumper is all cleaned up. We got that trim on there and that's looking really good. So before we throw the bumper back on, we do need to get the new headlights installed. We got some Morimoto headlights to go on this thing. We have some brand new fog lights as well. We're gonna get those put into the factory bumper and some fang lights. So we're gonna get all that done and then we could put the OEM bumper back in and we are finished with the front end. So the first thing we're gonna do is pop out these factory valances here for the fog lights. Got a clip I gotta take out and we'll get the new ones in that have lights installed. So we got the OEM one here, we have the new one here from Yota X. As you can see, this is going to have an LED running light on there. We also have an option for sequential turn signals as well. But we'll just snap these back in, really simple. All right, we got the fang lights installed. Those will get wired up once the bumper's on. Staying on par for the Morimoto lighting, we got some Morimoto Evo XB fog lights going into this 4Runner. So these do have the dual color function, so you can switch between yellow and white output. So these are gonna just install like the stock ones. 2 screws, super easy. So let's go ahead and get these in. Drop those in place. Fang lights are in, fog lights are in. Now, before we get the bumper on, we do need to install the headlights. So we have some Morimoto Evo hybrids here. These are a really nice headlight. I love the topo that they have on the side. Gives it a really cool look. And these are gonna transform the front end of this 4Runner a lot compared to what was on here with those stock faded ones. So let's go ahead, get these mounted in place, and then we'll get the bumper installed. All right, bumper is back on. It's looking way better. Let's do a test on these lights real quick. Headlights are working. Fog lights are working, so we are good to go. Turn signals. These are not sequential. Just finished up getting the fang lights wired in. These actually were the turn signal model, so you can see right now they are on with your normal running lights, and then when we would hit the turn signal, you can see they would flash along with the headlight as well. All right, so with the front end pretty much all done, we're gonna hop back underneath the 4Runner. We have a C4 skid plate that we're gonna put under here. So let's go ahead, grab that, show you what it looks like, and then we'll get it installed. So this is the C4 skid plate that we're gonna be installing on the 4Runner. It's about 1/4 inch thick steel, powder coated in a nice texture black. You have an access door for your oil filter and for your drain plug. This little bump out right here is for the front differential. But we're gonna grab the trans jack. We're gonna get this up on there. It's gonna make it a little bit easier for us to get installed. So in order to get this installed, we do need to remove these factory brackets here for the factory skid plate. And hopefully these bolts don't snap. I'm gonna work it back and forth. These back ones are fine because they've been lubed up with a pretty bad power steering pump leak. So these ones should come out easy. This is what I'm worried about up here. Let's see what this one does. That one seems okay. So at this point, I think we're done underneath the 4Runner. We got that skid plate installed. So now I'm going to head to the back. We're gonna get the Morimoto taillights installed. Also a black rear valance to make the rear end of this thing look a lot better. Let's go ahead and do that. So while we have the bumper off, we're also going to remove the factory taillights here, get the new ones installed after the bumper is reinstalled. The customer also wants the spare tire to be dropped down. So while the bumper is off, it'll just be a little bit easier to do that. So we'll get this down. And the customer also wanted a set of arc splash guards installed on their 4Runner. So we're not going to be putting the factory mud flaps back on. And because he's getting it installed done by us, we told him that we would throw those in for free. So that's one of the benefits of getting a build done from us. We usually throw in a little something extra. And if you guys are interested in getting your Toyota built by us, link is down in the description. Fill out the form, see if you guys qualify. Got the new black one here from Yota Xpedition. Let's go ahead and get this one installed. valance is in and looking way better. Now, we see a lot of people reach out to us and say that there is a big gap right here, and that is because the clip that is right behind this is not installed correctly. So let's go ahead and do that. So we got a pair of needle nose. You're gonna wanna make sure to push this all the way in so that it clips in. And then if you want, you can take a pair of needle nose and you can bend that clip up even more to make sure that it's hooked in there good. Now let's flip it back over. And as you can see, that looks good. So with the bumper valance all installed, let's go ahead and tackle the new Morimoto taillights here to match the front headlights and also the fog lights. These are gonna be super easy to install. Just plug it in, you got 2 nuts, and they are done. So let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and drop this spare tire down. So with the spare out of our way, let's go ahead and reinstall our bumper. Next up, we are installing the ARC splash guards here. So this is going to be a nice, clean aftermarket mud flap, opposed to the factory ones that we ripped off. So it comes with all new hardware, pretty straightforward to install, and it's gonna give it a nice clean look. So we're gonna get these installed. We also have some front ones to do as well. It's the next day and the last day of this 4Runner build. The last things we need to do is this brand new Sherpa Crestone roof rack here. Yesterday at the end of the day, we pulled off the factory one and cleaned the roof because that was pretty nasty. And so we got this to finish up. We got a light bar to put on. We have to do the switch panel from Yota Xpedition. And then we got the wheels and tires, and then this thing is off to get in alignment. So let's go ahead and get this thing assembled and get it on the 4Runner. So we have the Sherpa roof rack here laid out on the floor, and when it comes to roof racks, the roof racks that Sherpa makes are probably one of my favorite. They're super nice, super sturdy, and they're pretty easy to install. So you got your 2 main side rails. We have our front fairing, that is the short fairing, so it accommodates for the light bar, and then we have all of our crossbars and all of our mounting feet and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and start getting some of the mounting feet on these main rails and get these up onto the roof, and then we can start putting on the crossbars. Roof rack is all done, and now we can move on to getting our light bar mounted. So we have a 40-inch Dial Dynamics light bar. This was laying around. This is actually off of our old 4Runner, so we gave them a good discount on this thing. We're gonna get this thing mounted up with some Sherpa specific brackets, and then we'll get the power kit hooked up. We'll get this thing plugged in and we'll be good. Yeah. All right, we got the light bar mounted up onto the roof rack, and now I am putting on a wire hider. So this is just going to make the install clean, and it'll give us a place to put our wires from the roof down to our engine bay so you don't see them. So I'll get this stuck to the windshield, make sure the windshield's nice and clean. We'll get this stuck down, run the wires into the engine bay, and then we can start hooking up the switch panel so that we can hook up the light bar. All right, guys, we got the light bar on the roof rack all finished up. We got the wire hider and the wires ran down to the engine bay. So now we need something to power it. So we have our YP2 power kit here from Yota Xpedition, along with the 4Runner specific bracket. So this is going to make the install super clean and easy. And then our power kit has a total of 8 locations. We only have the light bar on the roof rack, so this customer is gonna have 7 more locations that he can add things to in the future. And everything's gonna be in one place right on the dash, and it's gonna be really easy to control everything. So we'll go ahead and we'll get all of this mounted onto our bracket. We'll get the bracket mounted into the 4Runner, and then we'll be good with all the lighting. All right, so we got both of our covers on, and you can't tell me that that doesn't look good underneath the hood of this 4Runner. But now we need to go ahead and test the light bar, make sure it's working, and then we'll label the controller. So we'll turn the switch panel on. I'm not exactly sure which button it is. There we go. So light bar is working. We'll go ahead and throw a label on that particular button. And then the rest of them, we'll just throw a blank on, and then in the future, the owner can swap out the buttons when they install new accessories. So we have everything done on the 4Runner. The last thing to do is the fun part, which is the brand new wheels and tires. So let's go ahead and get those on. All right, so wheels and tires. We got some brand new black Rhino wheels here in a 17x8 with a 0 offset. And then those are wrapped in a 285/70 Toyo AT tire. So should look pretty good. Let's go ahead and get these thrown on the 4Runner, and then we have to go get this thing aligned. All right, so after putting these on and looking at it, I was like, that doesn't look like a 0 offset wheel. So double checked, it's an 8.5 plus 12 offset. Got the wheels on. Let's go ahead and lower this thing and see how it looks. All right, guys, we got this 4Runner pulled outside, and it is looking way better than it did when it first got to us. Can't wait to show the customer. I'm sure he's gonna be super happy with the way that his 4Runner is looking. There's definitely a huge transformation on the front of this 4Runner with the lights, the C4 bumper, and the brand new wheels and tires. And like I said earlier in the video, all of this stuff is available on YotaXpedition.com. So if you want to do something like this to your 4Runner, you can get it all from us. And also, if you guys are interested in getting a build done by us, link is in the description for that as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe it'll help you with some inspiration when it comes to building your 4Runner. Make sure to hit that like button, comment down below, and hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it so much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.